Hey guys, how's it going today? So I'm gonna do a little bit different video this time. All I've been talking about lately is dogs, so tonight we're gonna talk about these fellows right here behind me, which are my Katahdin hair sheep. So last year I had the idea of breeding them like I used to breed my traditional market lamb breeds. I used to breed for 4-H kids. You know, your market lambs, like if you go to your fair, what you'll see raised up at the meat auctions and stuff. So that's what I used to breed for. I used to have Hampshire, Suffolk crosses with more of an emphasis on the Suffolk. I just preferred them. And then, you know, you have them lamb early in the season, January, February, and then at 8 weeks you wean them. The kids take them under their possession and then feed them heavy with grain, exercise them, get an excellent meat carcass on them is the goal. And then they get auctioned off, the kids make some money, and life is fun. And shout out to Samson here, we're hanging out and having supper together. So that's what I kind of wanted to do. Even though Katahdin are a hair sheep, they're not a wool sheep. But they tend to be a little bit more of a slower growing carcass for them. But I wanted to see what would happen. So last season I intentionally bred very early to try to get them to lamb January, February. And then my goal was to wean at 8 weeks and then pound with grain and just to see as an experiment how the Katahdin would stand next to the wool sheep, the wool breeds, your Suffolks, your Hampshires, because that's in this area what kids show at the fairs. And I was just curious, like you don't see Katahdin hair sheep in our show rings around here. So I was just kind of curious, how would they do? Well, I failed that experiment. It just got away from me. Life got in the way. And although I had them lamb at the right time, when it came to like pounding with grain and exercising, like time just got away from me. And I ended up keeping most of the ewe lambs. I sold off the ram lambs. Life got busy and got away from me. All right, now shout out to Athena, Samson's mom. So now she's gonna have some supper together. Why am I feeding him this way? That's another long story we'll get into another time. Anyway, so am I going to repeat this experiment the fall of this year for next year? No, for a couple of reasons. I may try to do a little bit of a variation of that, but I'm not going to do the exact same thing because, and I did an earlier video on this, what I noticed with trying to get my Katahdin girls bred early was my birth rates were low. Now, was that just like coincidence? It very well could be, because there's so many things that affect anyone else that's into agriculture. Other breeders of any farm animal knows that temperature, the weather, all these things play different changes in your feed, play a vital role, and you'll notice changes in your breeding programs. So it could be purely coincidental, but I did notice by trying to get these girls bred on their very first heat of the season of the fall, which seems to not be as strong of a heat, I noticed that all of my ewes that normally gave me twins gave me singles, and all of my ewes that normally gave me triplets gave me twins. So numbers wise, it was a crappy year, and that's not worth it for me. I need triplets. I need at least twins. I don't do singletons. I just don't. I've gotten very strict in my breeding program, and it's really yielded great results for me. I've been very, very choosy about what I keep and what I get rid of. And so, yeah, you have to give me at least twins or triplets, and you have to be able to have enough milk to care for all of them. I'm not doing bottle babies unless it's like a dire situation. And so far, it's gotten me really great results. But, so yeah, we're not going to do that again. I'm not going to do trying to push them heavy to get bred on that very first heat really, really early. I'm just not doing it again because I just didn't see the numbers like I need to, and that just doesn't do me any favors. So we're not going to do that again. But what I am willing to do is breed later into the fall, like I normally do, for really early spring babies, and then try pulling everybody at 8 weeks and hitting them with grain and exercise to see what I get. Just for curiosity's sake. You know, I am competitive by nature, And I would love to see more Katahdins in our show rings around here. People don't know a lot about them. Most people have never even heard of them around here. So I like educating people and bringing something new to people. So I might try for next year. Just do a little modification and kind of see where we're at. I'm going to be moving. I already know ahead of time all my ram lambs are going to be gone next year. They can move on. And any ram lamb that isn't like top tier amazing gets banded. And then if they don't move into somebody else's freezer, they can move into my freezers. And any ewe lambs that I have, if they look fantastic, I'll keep them and return them back into my own breeding program. And anything that I just don't think is something that I want in my breeding program can move on to somebody else's breeding program. I want to grow my herd. I'm moving out of the goats. I'm down. I only have 3 ewes and 1 buck for goats right now. Did I say ewes and bucks? Only 3 does and 1 buck for my goats. And I'm perfectly happy with that. I'm ready to be done with goats. I'm burnt out. I'm done with them. But my sheep herd, I would like to herd or flock. Whichever. I want that to grow. So that means keeping my girls. And I'll probably end up looking for a ram in the future. But he's got to be really nice. He's got to be stellar to be worthy of my ladies. I can play matchmaker. So we'll see how it goes, but just I like to, keep my mind busy and trying new things. So that's the plan for the spring going into the fall. And yeah, so that's the plan. Everybody's looking pretty good. I have one old lady in here. That's this girl right here, this deep copper color. I love her color, but she's old and she's having a hard time keeping her body condition. She looks all right now because they just got moved on to some lush pasture. But if she's not getting pushed heavy on some nice lush pasture, she has a hard time. She's bony. I'm not a fan of that. She's a great mom and everything. But she's 12, I want to say. So, she's getting up there. And then there's one other gal right here. This lady that isn't shed out very nicely. She is the last sheep that we took in from a rescue a year ago. And, she's just, you can tell she's not shed out as nicely as everybody else. She's thinner than everyone else. She's just not amazing. And then this guy here being the boss man in front, that's my ram. And he's a fantastic ram. Makes gorgeous babies for me. Is dominant with the ladies without being a jerk. No toxic masculinity, just the kind of masculinity we the ladies like. So he's good. I like him. So, that's the plan going forward. So we shall see what happens. But yeah, loving my Katahdins. Definitely going to stick with them and looking to grow the herd for 2026.